It's Puzzle Fox back at you again. Back out. Well, I shouldn't say I'm back out here. I'm actually in my office right now editing my second video to put onto YouTube here. So, like I said, it's going to be about the Ranger to start with. I want to get into the Mustang material soon, so I'm going to try to get maybe 2, maybe 3 videos out a week here to kick things off, and then it'll probably slow down once I get caught up with the Mustang material that I have so far. But I just thought I'd mention about the second video. There's a little bit of lapse of time between the last video where you'll have seen the engine still on the engine stand, and now we have it off of the engine stand and we're working on getting it installed in the truck. So that's what this video is going to be about, is just kind of some of our test fitting and some of the steps we went through just to get the engine into the truck and see what we were dealing with and how tight of a fit it is going to be. So I hope you watch this, enjoy it, like and subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. So I'm still getting used to this, and hopefully I'll get to be a little bit more entertaining as I get more comfortable doing this. But anyway, I hope you watch this video and enjoy it. Give me a thumbs up, and hopefully I'll get some more subscribers. I think the last I checked, I'm at 5 right now. I'm happy with that. 5 is better than 0, and we'll see how this channel grows. Thanks for watching. We're messing around with the Ranger again. So we got a little bit more done, just like installing the thermostat. Got down here, you can see we got a remote oil relocation kit started to install. It is a pretty darn tight fit down there next to the steering box with that, so it's shows it's pretty necessary to have that oil filter relocation kit. So we're just messing around, just test fitting this engine in here a little bit. It's looking like it's going to be pretty tight in here. So as you can see, the radiator would normally sit right in here, and we do have the engine sitting quite a bit forward in here right now, just trying to see how things fit. And we're gonna have to heat that heater box up and dent that out of the way, and make some more room so we can slide this thing back probably a good 4 or 5 inches, 4 inches I suppose. So these motor mounts look like they're going to work pretty good. These Rix Rangers motor mounts. I apologize, it's a little bit dark, so it's kind of hard to see that, but you can kind of see that there. So I think we're going to start tightening up some motor mount bolts and getting that kind of in place. So that's kind of where we're at for now. I actually do have some headers. A guy on the V8 Ranger Swap Facebook page said that he had some headers. We had those Explorer manifolds on here, but we just didn't like how those fit, and there'd be pretty much no clearance for these spark plug wires as we have them now anyway, and you'd have to reroute them around the manifolds, since the manifolds kind of came up above the spark plugs on both sides actually. So we got some Hedman headers. The guy said that they fit pretty good. They hug the block really well, and they clear these motor mounts. So I'm waiting for him to ship those out tomorrow. He said they're a little bit rusty, but I can get them cleaned up and bead blasted at work and slap some new high temp paint on them. It'll be good enough for what we're trying to do here. But that's kind of where we're at right now. We did find some different bucket seats and got rid of the old kind of split bench. The driver's seat was completely broken, the seat back wouldn't stay up in place. So Owen took and put the hardware from those old seats and put them on the bottom of these bucket seats, and kind of has them mocked up in place here just to see how they look and feel. So they don't exactly match, but Owen's okay with it since the truck is blue and the seats are blue, so we're just going to go with that. Oh, and he replaced the plastic on the sides here with the gray plastic. So that matches. It's just that the seat cloth material is kind of a light blue.
That looks just fine.
What we figured is with this heater housing here, there's a, it used to come out a little ways, so it would have been in the way of the valve cover, and we want to be able to push the engine back as far as we can. We ended up buying a heat gun, and then we had read that you could heat it up and kind of push that heater box in, but we weren't having much luck with that, so we're trying a different plan of attack. So as you can see here, we just cut a piece out. And basically what we're going to do is take the piece we cut out and flip it around so it's concave instead of convex there, and we're going to just use some high temp red RTV and put that in place and kind of piece it together like a jigsaw puzzle, and hopefully that'll all work and hold together pretty well. I know I've had pretty luck with RTV silicone in the past and having things hold up, but hopefully that'll work, and that's what we're going to try doing, and we'll take a video again later of how it's working. So we're bunkered down because of COVID-19, and so we're finally getting back out in the garage again. I can't remember the last time we were out here, but we got the engine off the hoist now, just sitting here on the floor, and we had the Explorer headers. You can kind of see them back down here, but we decided we didn't want to use those, and we thought we had some headers coming to us from someone, but the guy didn't come through, so we ended up ordering some Tri-Y headers according to the V8 Ranger swap page on Facebook. Did a little research on there, and it said that you could use these Tri-Y headers for early Mustangs, so like your 65 through 70 Mustangs. So that's what I ordered. We went a step up from what the painted ones and got the stainless steel ones, and we just put the transmission, the bell housing on, no clutch, just the bell housing, and bolted up the transmission just to try test fitting these headers to see how they'll go. So
See, we'll have to cut off the corner of the engine mount.
okay, so we'll have to make some adjustments to make things fit, but that's what I expected, and we're gonna do what we can, and I'll keep you posted on what we find and what we do. Owen was out here working hard and did a little test fit. These headers look nice. Like I said, they're some Scott Drake headers, so they're not the most expensive headers in the world. They're kind of a budget header. Like I said, Scott Drake. We got them on CJ Pony Parts. And I think we had a little bit of a discount, got like another 25 bucks off. They were like 305 bucks with tax and shipped and everything, with free shipping, ground shipping. So they actually look really nice. Like all the welds on here look pretty nice, and we were kind of wondering when the box showed up and it said made in China, but they do look pretty nice. So I'm really interested in seeing how they fit in the truck. I notice here, like on both sides, that spark plug looks pretty darn close to that forwardmost cylinder, so we might hit it with a socket and a hammer or something, and or some bar stock or something, and try to create a little more clearance for the first spark plug on each side. But other than that, I can't say a whole lot about it until we really get it in the truck and see how it fits, but it's looking pretty good and pretty promising right now. We have these Rix Rangers motor mount adapters in here, and we did have to make a cut back there to get some clearance for the header. So, and that's about all we had to do there. So it's looking pretty good. So we're gonna get that motor mount kind of cleaned up and slap some paint on there where we had to create some clearance and keep moving on. So we thought we'd just kind of set this engine in here loosely. Keep in mind the engine's up a little bit off the motor mount on this side. I don't know how well you can see it in the camera there. So So we're gonna have to push that engine bracket in just a little bit, about 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, to get it sit down on there. I think we're gonna have some decent clearance on the driver's side. It's of course gonna be tight. Gonna have that hot header next to that boot around the steering shaft, so maybe we'll have to figure something out there. But this driver's side looks like it's gonna be okay. Passenger side, like I said, keep in mind this engine's sitting a little crooked here yet, but even if you straighten this around a little bit, I think this header is gonna hit the frame rail just a little bit, so we might have to do a little bit of trimming in this general area here. So I think our next plan of attack is we're gonna mount the engine hoist up a little bit differently so it's not up against the firewall in the back. Drop it back down in here. There's a transmission mount bracket that goes in between the frame rails back underneath. We're gonna pull that out of the way and just mount up our bell housing and transmission again. Set her down in there and just hold up the back end of the transmission with a jack, and drop the headers back in again next to it and see how things are fitting, and see if we need to trim and how much we need to trim. Hopefully it won't be too much that we ruin the integrity of this frame in this truck, but I think we'll be okay. So I think that's gonna be our next steps. Probably just gonna pull it out of here for tonight and come back out here again tomorrow or this weekend and do some more test fitting. All right, it's a few nights later again. We're out here trying to figure stuff out, how we want to get this engine mounted in here. So we set it down in here. I just got a jack under the back of the engine to keep it from tipping way back against the firewall. But you can kind of see here. Want to grab me that light on? So we got just a couple bolts in here. It's not super tight. You can kind of see a little bit of a gap there between the header and the cylinder head there. But the only one thing I really see is down here at the bottom. There's like a ABS box there. It's got the rear ABS. So I think we're going to get rid of that rear ABS box anyway. I'm guessing that's not going to work, but we'll probably get it out of there. It is pretty close to all this steering gear up here, but it's not too bad. We ended up moving the mount over about a 1/4 of an inch to get things to fit. Then we put this exhaust manifold in the header in here, and of course you can't get it up flat against the head here, and then we're up against the frame rail, so I think we're gonna have to do some notching here for the two down tubes here. And we might actually, since we got a little bit of room to actually shove the engine back, we might redo this heater box thing, cut that out of there a little more and bend up some tin or something and rivet it in and seal it in, instead of our little hack job that we did, just cutting that piece out, turning it around and just gobbing in tons of RTV there. Then we did drop in the stock 3-liter radiator here and just put some of the pulleys on in place just to mock things up a little bit. And you can kind of see here, there is room to get that in there. We'll probably have to put a little pusher fan on the front and figure out what we're going to do for a radiator. We'll probably have to, I've heard that you can use a 4-liter Ranger radiator in here and it'll keep this 302 kind of cool, or at least that's what I've found in the research I've done. But we might figure out something here, but it was nice to see that we could at least stick this stock radiator in its spot here, and then there'd actually be room to put a little pusher fan in there. So I think there's some hope for that, and making some progress trying to figure things out here. But like I said, we're thinking we might do a little more work here, and on this side Maybe just to give us a little more room, you can kind of see that corner of the cab is real close to the cylinder head. I don't know if you can see it very good there. But we might try pounding that in a little bit to give us a little clearance so we can maybe get this engine back. Oh, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch, maybe a whole inch, but I think that might be really pushing it. So we're gonna take the night and sleep on it and figure out what we really want to do. We stuck the intake manifold, upper intake, just on here loosely, no bolts or anything, just to see how it'll look and fit up in here. But I think there's some hope for this thing, and we're gonna get it done. All right, we're back out here again the next day, getting a little more ambitious, making headway here. But we thought we'd come out here and try test fitting stuff again. And as you can see, we ended up doing a little bit of a hack job on the frame, but I don't really think it'll be that bad. It was actually quite a bit of material out of there, but after cutting it away, it doesn't look too bad. You can kind of see some rough edges there, but at least we got a little clearance for the headers, and then it looks like even down underneath on the lower part of the frame rail, it might be kind of close, so we might do a little clearancing down there too, kind of where the headers angle down and then they angle towards the back of the truck. But that down there, it's only going to be like 3/8 of an inch for a little section we'll have to trim out, so it's not quite as intrusive as what we did up here. But it does look a little rough here right now, but we kind of figured that's what we needed to make some clearance for those headers. So next is we're going to pull this out, get the engine out, and take a grinder to this and get rid of some of these rough edges and sharp edges so we don't have any stress riser points for the frame to crack at in the future. But I think this will be fine for what we're trying to do here, and I think it should hold up just fine over time. So as you can see, frame still looks pretty beefy and thick there, so I don't think we ruin the integrity of the frame too bad. So that's where we're at now and moving along.
Looks thinner over here, but it is like double thick there.
Mm-hmm.